What's going on, my friends? I'm Dustin Stelzer with Electrician U, and today we're going to talk about job site safety. All right, I know, womp, 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 safety guys here to talk, but that's not what this is about. This video is really how to just not be a broken old person after, years, after decades of doing this work, how to just not, really how to take care of your body. So there's a few things, like a lot of times you'll see somebody that's been in the trades that's like in their 60s and like they walk like this, usually got like a cigarette hanging out of their mouth, and they can't move because their back's all messed up, their knees are all messed up, their hips are messed up, they got scars and stuff all over the place, because what we do is generally just, rough, like we're roughnecks, but it doesn't have to be that way. So what I'm going to talk about are kind of like 5 core things that I think that people should do just to take care of themselves when they're on the job site every day. The first thing is obvious, but take care of your head. So I know, like, everybody hates wearing hard hats out there, but if you get a good hard hat and you're in commercial environments, you're in industrial environments, you're gonna find that you're gonna want to wear them. Now, the first couple of days when you have them on, you're like, oh, this sucks. You just keep hitting it on everything. But for real, when you're working around any kind of sharp, like metals or, conduit or beams or anything like that, it makes sense to wear it. And there's even cool hard hats now that have lights affixed to them. So like, even if you're working in like a residential area and it's in a dark area, it's kind of cool to be up in an attic to have this thing on because it just has a light on it. You don't have to worry about trying to get like a whole headlamp strapped kind of thing, and then you're climbing through all these rafters and you keep smashing your head, or you hit the nails that are sticking through that the roofers put way too long of nails through the plywood up on the roof. And I've done it. I've hit my head, scratched my head. I've like bled a large amount out of my head over the years, which may explain a lot of things. But no, I mean, just protect your head. And even if you're not wearing a hard hat, I think wearing a hat like this every day, at least, if you're drilling through something above your head, anything like hot metal or anything kind of rains down on your head, the hat just brushes it off. Or, like just keeping a hat like this when you're drilling through stuff, it just keeps everything out of your eyes. So that's head protection. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but head trauma can really seriously affect whether or not you can ever do this again, and whether or not you can do a lot of things for the rest of your life. So first and foremost, protect your noggin, get you a hard hat. These ones from Klein are really, really cool. Again, I like them. They're kind of like a rock climbing style or like a BMX biker style. They have 2 different kinds right now. One of them is vented, one of them is not vented. But the cushioning inside of them are amazing. It feels really comfortable. The tightening mechanism on the back of the hard hat it's like a really, really good tightening mechanism. So it's not this cheap plastic that bends with the heat of the sun sitting in the back of your truck. Plus it comes with a chin strap, so if you're ever like leaning over and you're doing aerial work, it's not gonna fall off. You can attach that chin strap, even though a lot of people don't even like the chin strap. I just think that it's a good hard hat to have on you. And I find that this style of hard hat, and because the fact that it's got the light affixed to the front of it, I just use it more often than I would use any other hard hat. I actually like the look of it and the style of it and the functionality of it and the comfort of it, so I choose to wear it more often than I would otherwise choose to wear a hard hat. All right, so the next in line is the eyes. This is still head, I suppose, but covering your eyes and protecting your eyes is crucial. As humans, we see first. It's the most important sense that we have. Visually being able to see on a job site, on a construction site, is really, really important. We measure things and cut things, and like everything that we do is vision centric. So taking care of your eyes, literally, man, just put on some glasses, some goggles, something that's safety rated. A lot of people don't like them because they fog up. Well, Klein has these new ones that don't fog, and actually a few brands are doing this now, but you can actually blow in them, put hot air on them, they do not fog up. So there's really no reason comfort-wise why you wouldn't wear them. Plus they make them in, outdoor or indoor, so they're actually tinted. I kind of like styles that tend to hug my whole face rather than something that's flat and has a gap under here for all of the sheetrock dust and everything to fly in. Kind of defeats the purpose, really. I like, the styles that actually kind of conform to your face, and it just protects your eyes. It's really important. Doesn't matter if you're in residential, if you're cutting sheetrock and you're getting sheetrock dust in your eyes, and you got to go out in the truck and get water and try to dump stuff to get it out of your eyes. I have gotten wood splinters in my eyes. I've gotten metal shards from using a unibit or just trying to drill through metal, and you get a little metal flake, boom, goes right in your eye. That ruins your whole day. I know people that have been hospitalized for it. It's just a silly thing to not do. Okay, so moving down the body, now we've got hand protection. I wear gloves all the damn time. It doesn't matter if I am wiring a house and I've just got wood studs everywhere. I get splinters, you get cuts, you snag on stuff all the time. Plus, if you're working in a new home, there's no windows in it, and it's been raining and stuff, there's mud and dirt and everything, and it gets all over your wire, and then it gets all over your hands, and you just get filthy. So, not that really matters. For years I did work and I didn't care, and I was kind of proud. I would eat my sandwiches with filthy hands. I was like, look how manly I am. But after a while of learning finesse and trying to learn that, just taking care of myself, looking like I'm professional and being professional and trying to do a really good job and having customers watch me and be like, wow, that guy's really got his shit together. Wearing gloves actually kind of has this appearance to it as well. It's when somebody views you with gloves, it's oh wow, they have the forethought enough to wear gloves to take care of themselves and to make sure that they're not getting their grease all over this, these fine walls. If you're just wearing if you're in a brand new sheetrock environment or something like that, and you got fresh paint. I'll even wear latex gloves when I'm working with fixtures to not get fingerprints on walls. But that's just one kind of gloves. I'll wear cheap, mechanics gloves that are disposable if I'm working in filthy environments where there's oil or water or just gunk and filth. But I'll wear pulling gloves too. I have some really thick kind of leather, these Journeyman gloves from Klein. They protect your knuckles. It's a little bit of extra material on them. So when you scrape your knuckles against stuff, it kind of protects you. Being that they're leather, they're actually a lot stronger than most of the crappy nylon gloves that you're gonna have, especially stretchy nylon. They just rip too quickly. So I like a good mix of a leather nylon glove. But I use these to pull wire with, or I use them to, if we're doing an underground or something, or we're out in the rain, I will beat the crap out of these gloves. And I also tend to keep multiple sets of gloves around, which at times can suck because you, one day you go into your truck and you've got 5 left gloves and you can't find any right gloves, or all of your right gloves have the same finger hole, hole in the glove. So it kind of sucks. But at the same time, it's also just nice because if you can't find your one set of gloves, or if you have your set of gloves that are in your tool pouch, and your tool pouch is in a job site, and now you're out by your truck and you still need gloves to go do something before you go back inside, just having a few pair around are really good. Generally, I don't buy the same one pair. I kind of like to switch it up and just see what gloves are what, because I'll say 80% of the gloves that you're going to buy from Home Depot or Lowe's, or even, just electrical supply houses, most of them suck, and not that they just suck, but they don't last very long. So that's why I judge saying that they suck. I think a good pair of beat the shit out of gloves every day should last you 6 months. 6 months of everyday kind of rugged use. That to me is a 5-star awesome glove. Anything less than that, 3 months, okay, that, that's reasonable. But if it's lasting less than a month, you're paying roughly the same amount for these gloves. So I have found gloves that actually do last me up to 6 months, and I paid the same amount for gloves that would last me 2 weeks, and then they start ripping. So that's just what I judge my my glove use off of. Now, the crappiest things that happen with your hands, obviously cuts. Working with a utility knife, I have cut my hand open, had to get stitches. I've filleted myself numerous times. You get splinters metal shards or anything inside of your hands. You crack your knuckles and just make your knuckles bleed all the time. Hitting your fingers with a hammer while you're trying to staple, a piece of Romex. I have gotten splinters deeply embedded under my fingernail all the way. Oh, Oh, that's a kind of pain that I don't wish upon my worst enemies. Oh my God. Having something lodged all the way through the tip, through your fingernail, all the way through to like whatever that little white part is. Bro, there's some pain in this world that humans should never experience. And that's one of them. Have you ever noticed how like paper cuts are the worst? But you know, like big gashes, it's like whatever. It's like, yeah, it hurts. But like little tiny paper cuts just sting like so much. I hate little cuts like that. Now, another kind of gloves that I should talk about, I'm not doing an electrical safety video here, that'll be a different video, but there are what we call hot gloves, and they are electrically rated gloves that you wear. These gloves are typically a two-part glove. You've got the actual rubber glove that is electrically insulated. Usually it's stamped with like a certain voltage, 1,000 volts, 10,000 volts, whatever. And then you have got the leather protectors, and that's just basically a regular leather glove that goes on the outside of them. I keep a few different sets of these around in different places, just depending on what environment, but it's really good to have them. You need to get them tested from time to time, just to make sure that they haven't gotten any punctures on them. And they basically do a insulation test on them, which is a super high resistance test, just to make sure they recertify that these gloves are still good. You're supposed to keep paperwork on them and everything, but they're a little bit higher end thing to have on you. Usually a set of hot gloves should cost, I don't know, anywhere between like $100 to $300 probably. I'm sure there's more expensive out there than that, but I think like $150 is usually what I expect to pay. But it's a good thing to keep on you. Just another set of gloves for another type of environment to keep your hands safe, specifically while working on electrical stuff. The next thing we're going to talk about is the knees. So as an electrician, you get up and down on ladders all day, every day. I feel like we use ladders more than anybody else in the trades. Framers, maybe framers. I don't know. Framers probably come close, but I still don't think they use them as much. I don't know, man, that's hard to say. We use them all day, every day, but they're always climbing up on stuff too. So like every day, pretty much they're using them as well. Whatever, there's a shootout between the framers at least. But it's just to say that your knees take a huge beating. Now, especially when you're younger and you like jumping off of trucks and jumping on and jumping off of things because you're like spry and industrious and full of all this crazy energy. Like me, I used to be up in like, you know, rafters, and it'd be like an 8-foot ceiling or an 8-foot wall, and I'd be up above, and I would just like literally jump down onto the ground. And it was like a point of pride to be like, oh, you know, like I got all this energy. Or I would like run and jump and like pull myself up into the rafters and just be pulling wire, like that whole working fast, being young, like no bulletproof, nobody can stop me thing. Let me tell you, as a 36 next month, 36-year-old, I regret all of that. It didn't get me anywhere. I was really only impressing myself. And now my knees suck, dude. Like I have pains in my knees when I step, when I get down. I have to like be careful about how I get down and how I get up. Usually I like have to brace myself. The more that I work out and exercise and stretch, it kind of goes away depending on what I eat, how much water I drink, how many like vitamins, minerals, everything that I'm actually taking in. That's the thing. The older you get, you got to start thinking about this stuff because you didn't think about it when you were younger, and you should have. So one thing that I do to mitigate this, obviously I lift very carefully with everything. I don't get up and get down and jump off stuff anymore. But when I do get down, like if I'm putting plugs in or something, I wear knee pads. If I'm getting up and down over and over and over throughout a room, and I've got like 300 plugs to put in, or I'm wiring plugs, you know, and I've got like, I'm running everything. I just keep a set of really good knee pads on. That way when I get down, I'm not like jamming anything, because every once in a while you get like a rock or a piece of wood or a nail or a staple or something, and you get down on your knees and you're just like boom, ah, and you didn't see something down there too. So like the knees, every older dude is going to tell you the knees are the worst because they go out, they affect everything you do. You don't think about how much they affect you. Feet too. But if you take care of your knees and just think about this stuff, you'll last a lot longer. And then when you're my age or in your 40s, 50s, When you just have normal knee problems, it's just normal knee problems that you're having. You're not having decades of terrible decision making on job sites problems on top of it. Another thing to talk about are your feet. Like, we use our feet for everything. We use our feet more than we use our hands. Out in the field, you walk to everything. You're getting up on ladders, climbing down. I know some a dude specifically that's got some crazy problems. He had diabetes, and so like he doesn't even have feeling in his feet, and like having surgery and stuff on him. So I've actually seen firsthand what it looks like with somebody that has extreme foot problems, and it almost debilitates the person to the point where everybody else has to do the work, and they become just the brains for everyone on the project, which there's nothing wrong with that, but the inability for that person to really navigate job sites and be able to get up and down on things and having to kind of have us work around to get him access to everything, it's gotta suck, man. Like, it's really, our feet are probably the last thing we want to think about, because it's just like dirty, stinky feet, you know what I mean? Like, I get it, but your feet are one of the most important assets that you have. And just taking care of them, making sure that you've got some kind of insoles in your boots, making sure that you have good quality boots that actually, you know, that you pay some money and get some good cushioning and get some extra layers like moisture protection, the kind of socks that you wear. Make sure that you're wearing socks like wool or something that kind of wick the heat and the sweat off of your feet, rather than like cotton socks where it's just like this damp, sweaty, nasty environment in there all day. But think about your feet too, like your ankles, like trying to do stuff so that you're not twisting your ankles all the time. I like to get boots that have a firm like tie to them. I don't like boots that are kind of loose, like cowboy style boots, you know, like where they lock into your foot, but there's all of this extra room up on the top. Well, I can't stretch that far. But that's just my personal preference. I like to know that my heel and my foot and my ankle and all of that are kind of locked in tight. That's just the style that I like. But just take care of your feet. Don't be like walking around with shoes that are easily, like a nail could stick up through the bottom of your boot, you know, like really just think about what you're doing with your feet. And I promise over the years, you will not regret that you've actually taken the time to care about your feet. The last thing I'm going to talk about is your back. And this is probably, I don't know, I think this is the first thing for most people to start going, because a lot of people in the construction side of this trade wear tool belts. And a lot of times they wear way too many tools, and they're trying to carry every single thing, and it's super heavy. I know people that carry multiple different drills, and they've got like pounds of metal on one side and like wire nuts and tape and like just ridiculous amounts of tools over there and like other kinds of tools. And it eventually like starts to do this thing where you walk like this and you don't realize it every day, but you've got more weight on one side. And after years of this, your spine actually changes its alignment, and it creates back problems, especially whatever these nerves are. Is that the sciatic nerve? Gattaca? Welcome to Gattaca? I don't know, whatever. But there's these nerves that go down the back of your leg, and they pinch. The more that you have any kind of like muscle, I'm not a physical don't listen to what I'm saying about like the science of this. I just know from personal experience, I get this pinched nerve down here every once in a while, and it drops me to my fucking knees, and I cannot get up. There's no amount of stretching, there's no amount of moving. Once that thing pinches, I'm done. For days it takes me to be able to get back. And it's not so much anymore because I'm actually like fit and I'm like, you know, working out and thinking about how I move and everything. So the last few years it hasn't really been a problem. But from probably like 24 to 30 in those years, it was a huge problem. And I didn't think about how I was lifting. I would bend over and try to pick something up. And that's another problem. When you hear all these people like, lift with your legs, not with your back. And you're just like, whatever, old man, shut the fuck up. Shut up, safety guy. But there's a reason, man. It's a lot of this stuff that these older dudes are saying, you need to listen to. They're not just telling you shit because they like to hear themselves talk. A lot of times they are telling you things because they like to hear themselves talk. I'm not going to deny that. I'm in between being a young dude and an old dude, and I like to hear myself fucking talk, so I'm not going to deny that part of it. But there's a reason why they say lift with your legs. When you're gonna lift something, you bend down, keep your back straight, and lift up. That way you don't hurt yourself. It's the same thing if you're in a gym and you're doing squats. You keep your back as straight as possible and you do a squat. You're not bending over to try to use it, like hinging with your hip. You'll hurt yourself. So just think about your back. Take things easy. If you start getting back pains, there's no harm, no foul in wearing a back brace. It's just a tight compression wrap that goes around your back, and it just keeps it. It's kind of like really just a reminder to like keep your back straight when you're doing things, because a lot of times we just don't think about our back, and that's the problem. We don't think about how things impact our back. And if you're somebody that's in the gym and you're lifting weights and stuff, that's really usually when people start to think about their form and how they lift and be like, oh, I'm gonna really hurt myself if I try to lift this weight a certain way. Well, the same thing goes for out in the field. Like, why wouldn't you still apply the same thing, you know, when you're at your job that you're at 80% of your life all day, every day? So that was 6, not 5. I meant to do 5, but I did 6. Oh well. Those are the things that I would be careful about when you're on job sites. If you're new to this whole trade thing, you're going in to job sites every day, just try to take care of yourself. There's a lot you can do to not get injured. Slowing down a little bit is one of them. I know at first you're like the hustle, everybody around you's gonna be like, work hard, work fast, work, you know, and that's most of the time when you get injured, because you're in too big of a hurry rather than taking your time and like making sure that you're not hurting yourself. A lot of times you're just like, like all over the place. So I get it. Just try to be careful. Take care of yourself so that you're not broken at the age of 40 and you can't do this anymore. So thank you guys so much for all of my channel members. Really appreciate all the support. 480 volt members. I don't know. I just don't know sometimes. So thank you guys so much for your support. Make sure that you like, sub, hit the notification dingy thing, follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, all the shit so that I say every single episode. Do all the stuff. I love you crazy people. Thank you so much for your time, and I will see you in the next one.
Best music and video.